Good. So whenever you're here comfortable, just let your breath start to flow. Just really good inhales. Nice, long, deep exhales. And kind of starting to scan through your system, see what areas are naturally tight in this moment. Just kind of scan through it, just kind of tuning in what is going on at this moment in time. As our breath is going easy and deep, as we're continuing to scan through our body, what we're going to do for a moment is do a little trick that helps our body come into even deeper relaxation. So this trick is to contract your muscles. And so especially think of the tight areas, kind of try to contract some muscles around that area, but also include muscles all over the body. So like the fists, the face, the shoulders, the legs, kind of just contract everything tight, tight, tight. We'll hold that for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then all at once, let everything relax. And just feel your body kind of settling to a new depth. The breath is flowing a little bit easier. So just keep that easy breath flowing as we take a moment here to connect with our intention. The intention for our class today is kind of like a spring cleaning for our spine, for our body, for our mind, for our emotions, all those good things. So think of the difference between a cluttered home and then walking through that same space after you've cleaned it. It just feels different. It's like when it's cluttered, your mind is constantly saying, oh, I need to take care of this sometime. I need to remember to do this. And it kind of constantly sucks your energy because you're thinking of how much you still have to do. Versus when it's clean, you just get to be. So it's that shift from doing to being. And that's the shift, that spring cleaning we hope to have in our body and in our emotions today. That shift from doing, here I am, I'm coming to yoga, I'm doing the work, I'm cleaning the house, versus just getting to be in our body comfortable. Less energy required. It's kind of more fun sometimes. So that's kind of that energetic shift, that detox, that cleansing we hope to have a little bit in our system today. And in order to get there, we're focusing especially on the spine and especially including twists. Twist, it's almost like taking a wash rag and just squeezing all that junk out. So just kind of imagine that's helping us to kind of detoxify and cleanse all that we have beautiful stuff going on inside of us. So that's the image we have to carry forward. And so with that image to lead us on, let's begin nice and easy. The knees will start to come into the chest. And let's rock around just a little bit on the sacrum, on the hips. It's an easy chance to tune into the back. And largely what we're seeking for is just asking the question, what can I do to help? Tune into the possibilities, tune into anything that you need to do to kind of hold off. Sometimes there's certain areas that need less, some areas that need more. And as I promised, we'll be taking several different types of twists. So let's start with our first one, nice and easy. Both knees start to fall all the way over toward the left. Now know that obviously we're not forcing anything. We never force it in a restorative class. But especially with this kind of being the first movement we're getting into our back, let's be extra gentle with this. So there's kind of two options to keep this gentle. Option number one, you could take a block in between your thighs, and that would kind of make sure that you're not forcing that top thigh too far. Option number two, just kind of purposely lift that top thigh up just a little bit. So ending up in this beautiful spot, the next thing I want you to notice is how the breath wants to flow. Sometimes, especially when it comes to twists, we don't realize that we're taking shallow breathing. But think of the breath today like a duster going around, kind of getting all the little crevices that we haven't necessarily paid attention to. So it's like us breathing into the belly, breathing into some of those little tiny alveoli in the lungs, letting everything be a little bit more clean. You choose if it's helpful to have the hands energetically on the belly or the back, or if it feels better to open the arms out. Sometimes that's a different kind of stretching open. So personal preference. We'll give this about 4 or 5 more slow, deep breaths before we begin to switch sides. Good. So as we're preparing to switch, before we take the full twist all the way over, what I want you to do first is let this right thigh flop back open. So essentially bringing the bottoms of feet into cobbler's pose, knees open. Feel the hips starting to shift open into this position. Grabbing onto the elbows, we're going to do a nice circle of the shoulders to each direction. So start off with the elbows coming up above head. Feel how this arches the whole spine. Imagine that's like detoxing the whole spine. And then trying to get those cobwebs right out of the shoulders. Let the elbows start to trace over to the right. Sometimes the shoulders need you to pause to this angle for a little while. Eventually we can circle down. Over to the left, perhaps pause. And traveling back up. And then when you're ready, at your own pace, reverse that circle, going to the left first. At your own pace, eventually circle down and to the right. Good. When you come back up overhead, take a nice inhale. Exhale, release the hands. Maybe hands come to belly, or maybe they start spreading open. Let's begin to flip the left knee over to the right, taking that twisted shape there. If you want it deeper, hug the knees in a little bit more. Less deep as knees further, like where they initially flopped over to. Maybe you set up a block before, in between thighs, or even under the bottom thigh. Maybe hands are energetically on a place of your spine or your belly or your hips that feels extra tight, or maybe they're spreading open. to include that left arm just a little bit deeper. Again, notice how the breath wants to flow in this area. Maybe it's a restricted breath immediately, so can we make it deeper? Or maybe you're starting to play with that sensation already of kind of massaging those internal organs just by breathing. Let's take that last 4 or 5 good deep breaths for this side. From there, when you're ready, maybe in a breath or two, eventually you'll flop that left thigh back open. Grab onto the elbows. Let the arms rise up above head. Nice and easy, let's do another circle to each direction. So perhaps we start off circling to the left first this time. A little pause for a moment. Circling the elbows down and to the right. And eventually back up. Maybe a full breath cycle. At your own pace, circle one more time, starting to the right. No rush for this one, it's at your own pace. When you do finish, take a full inhale. Exhale. And then splay your arms and legs open to a huge figure X on the ground. Another breath or two right there. The legs start to work their way back together. Take the right leg in. We're clasping behind the back of the thigh. We're giving that hamstring a moment to stretch up. This doesn't have to be anything forceful in restorative class. We're as easy as we need to be. But we are inviting a little bit of a stretch. A lot of times, some tightness in the back area comes from tightness actually in the legs. We're giving the legs a chance to stretch to help everything else out. And then bending this right knee. Let's aim the knee easy, easy, easy over toward the left. Again, you're not forcing anything too deep. We have plenty of time to come. But maybe you pause halfway there, kind of getting into IT band and hip. Or maybe you pause a little bit deeper, working its way up the low back, up the spine. So it's all up to you to find those little cobwebs, to find those crevices that need some spring cleaning, that need just a little bit of a pause. So a nice inhale. Exhale, start to ease this right leg, eventually all the way down. And when you're ready, left leg will take a chance to stretch up to sky. The nice thing about that easy, easy movement is that in addition to stretching the hamstring areas, we're also allowing gravity to pull some of the lymph and some of the blood out of the leg, with blood pressure almost zero in the feet. It's actually quite restorative, quite helpful for that foot, that leg that's been carrying us all throughout today. If the breath wants to go any deeper, maybe we return back to shallow. That tends to be a lot of people's habit. Maybe one more huge inhale. And exhale, let the knee bend. Let's start to ease it to the twist. Remember, you're welcome to pause halfway there. Or maybe you take it a bit deeper. Maybe you take it all the way. It's all up to you. The best thing I could ask for is just listen to your body. More good, slow breath. And then from here, I'll give you a personal choice. You can either continue to come over into a fetal position, or you can take another moment to just lay open like that huge figure X. In just a little while, we will be coming up to a seated position, but choose whatever feels best for just a moment. This is kind of how we turn from doing to being, is take those moments to ask your body what it wants, and then just kind of luxuriate in it. It's like, I wish I could just stay here another couple of breaths. So take one more good inhale. And exhale, whatever way you want to make your way up to sit. Let's head toward that direction. As we're working our way up, remember you always could sit on a block. That makes it easy. We'll place the bottoms of feet together. And I'll also let you choose if legs are going further forward or if they're scooting in. I will say it tends to be easier to get into some of the low back muscles and to do. The first couple of deep breaths, the muscles kind of starting to say, okay, I don't know about this. This is pretty intense. And so it's like we're being with our body, slowly inviting it to allow muscles to relax. I'll offer this as an invitation to the people that want to go deeper. Don't feel like you're forcing this. This is only if this would be a restorative pose for your body. You could start to wind the arms under the knees. That'll help invite the spine just a bit deeper. Option to separate the feet by an inch or two would be deeper yet. So it's only if that seems like the body wants that. Don't force it. Just listen to the muscles of the back and just help that area. Now, if you wound the arms under, let's slowly start to ease that out. And what we'll do is find our hands on the floor. This could be inside of the legs. This could be past the legs. Finding the hands on the floor, we're slowly going to inch our hands over toward the right side. Never go so far that you have to lift one of your sitting bones up. But as you start to slowly inch to the right, you'll feel a couple of things going on. We've got that twisting action starting to happen in the waist. That's that detoxification energy that we're carrying. And also, I love this stretch for how it gets into that left half of the low back. Those muscles are getting a chance to stretch just a little bit deeper. You can make this as restorative as you want, maybe resting forehead on a block or on the leg. We'll take just as slow and easy of a journey to begin to make our way to the left side. So don't feel any rush. In fact, the slower we go, the more it helps the muscles to recover. Another inhale. Exhale returns us back forward. Remember, take your time. After those deep cobwebs, a couple of breaths here back in the middle. It helps our spine to remember how to be back centered. And so as we continue to support our spine through rising all the way up, let's allow hands to be on knees or on shins, whatever is easy. And we're going to take some nice circles for the spine just to help it out. So let your ribs kind of jut to the right and arch your heart forward, nice and easy. Jut your ribs to the left and round all the way back. I personally am going to switch directions each time, so next time would be to the left. And around. And just easy does it. Good. Let's take one more. Beautiful. Spine back upright. Let's take some time being on our knees. So as we take the knees underneath our body, the spine might want a couple of breaths to kind of readjust. So maybe you're wagging your hips left and right. Maybe you're taking the spine up and down like a cat and a cow. It's all up to you. It's whatever's helping those tight spots. It's time, maybe even pause at the spot that just feels good. Beautiful. So from here, we're gonna thread a shoulder down to the ground. Know that if the shoulder doesn't want to make its way all the way down, you could use a block. And so let's start with our right arm. Reach it up to the sky. I like to pause here just a breath or so to help twist the spine open. And then whenever you're ready, kind of thread that right arm all the way down. If the shoulder doesn't sit down, that's where you'll add the blanket or the block for support. Otherwise, resting down, find the spine in a nice, easy twist. So this is more of an upper body twist rather than the lower body. You could stay with the hands exactly as they are. You could bring the left arm to stretch up to the top of the mat. If I'm doing that, I kind of like to inch my fingers a little bit over toward that top right corner. You could also bring the hand around the low back. So it's all up to you. You're finding the perfect amount of spiral, shoulder stretch. And even it's nice in this one to have a little bit of an inversion. That's one way that we detox, is by sometimes flipping the body around, because all the stuff that's kind of been stuck, that helps the body to start moving it around. It's not just the little tiny cilia and the little tiny finger-like protrusions inside the intestines. It's not just that that moves the food along. Here we're using gravity to help us. Just a simple flip and things are not quite so stuck anymore. If you're still doing okay, let's take 3 more breaths here. And if the left arm moved at all, shift it back in front of the face and press into that left hand. Let's take a moment for our spine again. We can wag our tail. We could take cat-cow. We could even do hip circles. Just whatever helps things to feel just a little bit more aligned. That's what we're trying to aim for. Good. So when the spine feels happy, let's prepare for second side. Lifting left arm to sky first. Feel yourself stretch open. Nice inhale. And exhale. When you're ready, start to thread that left shoulder down. Support if needed. Maybe hands stay here. Maybe right arm around the low back, or maybe it stretches up to the top of the mat. I personally am going to inch my fingers toward that top left corner, just helping to spiral myself under and through. Notice how this isn't really a spot where you could consciously make your breath go into the ribs very easily. So this is definitely breathe into belly territory. Doing okay. Let's aim for 3 more breaths. Good. When you're preparing to come out, right hand comes in front of the face, press into it. Another moment for ease in the spine, whatever wiggles feel helpful. Take a moment with child's pose. The knees can be wide, the knees can be narrow. You could have arms forward, you could tuck arms backward. It's all going to be personal preference. We're giving those hips, the quads, and the back muscles a couple of breaths to just relax that. More breath. After that second breath, hands on the floor to support the spine up. Let's shift our hips to one side of the feet so legs can return forward. And always know, as we're sitting down, you could always sit up against the wall if it's ever a struggle to kind of just sit. So that's always an option you could include. But we're gonna have left leg out in front of us and then right foot planted, this kind of knee upward. So taking an easy twist from here, right hand is behind us, left hand is on the knee, or sometimes elbow can go instead. Lift the vertebrae up tall, and then continue to spiral. Just that nice, easy twist we're reintroducing. is nice because belly can breathe into the thigh, kind of helping to get that little massage, that internal organ stuff going on. Another inhale. And exhale, just let that right thigh flop open. Return forward. And let's take a nice easy stretch over this left leg. You could absolutely have the knee bent. That would be nice and restful to go forward. If you want it to be straighter, that'll get just a bit deeper in hamstring. So that's up to you. Really just listen to your body. Does your spine want it more? Does your hamstring want it more? Just find that perfect balance between the two and try to release as much as you can to gravity. Use that rather than muscular effort. Good. Start to let the spine rise. And at your own pace, we'll begin to switch the legs out. Right one starting to go long, left one starting to plant. Left hand behind us. Right hand or right elbow. Lift the spine up and spiral open. How much does the neck want to be a part of this or not want to be a part of this? Maybe it feels good to gaze over right shoulder and over left shoulder and letting that neck ease to both sides. Maybe looking straight to the side, you tilt one ear to one shoulder or the other. Kind of trying to find any of those little cobwebs in the neck if it wants it. More breaths. And easing our way forward, that left thigh flops open. This right leg can be straight, it can be bent. Just find the perfect amount and then continue to release forward. Like this is a chance to get into some of those cobwebs in the hamstring. So even though our lungs don't physically connect really to the leg at all, imagine your breathing could go so deep that you breathed all the way into that leg. Trying to draw out these breaths as long as possible. Take 3 more. Only after all 3, we start to rise back up. After those forward folds, it'll feel nice to lay back down onto the ground. So let's lay back open to that huge X shape when you get there. And just feel things starting to shift again. Movement. So key. Movement is life. Movement is cleansing. So keeping the left side where it is, the left arm and the leg open like this. Let's allow the right side to start to move into banana. So cross the right ankle over the left. And then that left arm staying far over like it is. Let the right hand, the right wrist be placed into that left hand. Huge banana, everything over to the left. You don't want to be lifting hip or shoulder off the ground. Just let it be a nice lateral side lean. Notice what areas you can breathe into here. Maybe there's new cobwebs to try to explore. Breathe into right lung. You can breathe into kind of like the right half of the belly. Good, so one more breath in and out. Let's lay right back open to the figure X. Everything's right in the center with the spine. When you're ready, now leave the right side in place. Cross the left ankle over the right. And then bring that left wrist into the right hand. Finding the breath where it wants to flow. Then be extra deep. And 3 more rounds like that. After all 3, we'll open back up, figure X one more time. Everything, spine is in the center. Huge inhale. And exhale, slide the feet into plant. And we'll let our right thigh cross really tightly over the left thigh. So for some of us, this might already be getting into a little bit of a hip opener. So if that's the case, just leave the legs on the ground like this. If you need more, You can try to bring thighs into the chest, either grabbing on to each knee or maybe onto each ankle. For me, when I can grab onto the ankles, that gets me so deep into that hip joint. But I also acknowledge that I have a lot more open hips than many people. So don't feel like it's a comparison. This is you listening to your body. Pause right here with the hips, about 3 more breaths. Good. After that 3rd breath, hands release, but the legs stay crossed. And we begin to let the legs fall over to the left. So they are welcome to fall just a couple of inches. Or for some of us, it's falling almost all the way down. So take it with a slow journey. Again, maybe hands are on the belly, kind of energetically supporting the back. Or perhaps arms are starting to spread back open on the floor. Huge inhale. And exhale. Uncross the ankles. Start to slide the feet onto the mat about as wide as the mat, and do just a good 2 or 3 rounds of windshield wipers to each side. Good. Now we feel ready for second side. So when you're ready, left thigh over. Maybe you stay. Maybe you grab on toward knees or perhaps toward ankles. A couple of breaths right there. More inhale and exhale, hands release. The legs fall a little bit to the right or all the way to the right, your choice. This is our last twist of the day. Imagine it's like we're wringing out these last little spots. So once again, choose, are the hands resting to kind of be an energetic support? It's as if our hands just touching it gave that spot energy. Kind of cleanse it out, or maybe spreading open. That's also nice for shoulders and this upper back area. So just listen, what does the body want? What is the last little gift we can give it? Let's take 2 or 3 more breaths. And starting to unwind. Perhaps a few last windshield wipers, knees left and knees right. Start to listen to your body. What kind of a shavasana does your body want? You could leave the feet planted like this and just let the knees fall into one another. That's super kind for the low back. You could take a normal Shavasana. You could even just splay back open to that huge figure X for our Shavasana today. Cobbler's pose, legs up the wall. There's all sorts of options. After all we've done, ask the body what it wants, and then begin to settle into that beautiful shape. We've got several more minutes here just to relax. So when you get settled into your beautiful shape, imagine our inhales and exhales are just the last little spring cleaning gift we can give our body. The gift of freshness, kind of like opening a window to let that fresh spring air come in. So here, begin to deepen the inhales and the exhales. Introducing little movements back to fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretching it out like we're waking up first thing in the morning. Eventually taking a nice fetal position off to one side. Maybe 3, 4, 5 good deep breaths, however many you need to fully return back to presence. Whenever you arise, sooner or later, allow hands to be in front of heart and just kind of mentally imagine walking through the corridors inside of our body. And just notice at this point, especially compared to an hour ago, does the body have a little bit more of a being quality rather than a doing quality? We're able to just be right at home, right within this beautiful vessel we've been given. And so perhaps as we continue to head forward, we keep this idea of this spring clean body, and we try to find just more being as we go through the next several days, the next week of our life, allowing ourselves to just be in our life rather than to do our life. So with this to lead us on, let's wrap up the time we got to share together. Namaste. You're welcome. Thank you. You're so welcome. Happy Friday. Welcome to our weekend.
Thank you, Whitney.
So happy to have you, Rachel.
Bye.
Bye. You have to give me flight updates.
Yes, for sure. I was waiting for you to ask that.
For sure.
So he is doing great.
Good.
He is such a little people dog.
Good.
Yeah, he still hasn't got a machinery yet. We really need to do that.
Okay.
I mean, without it, he's still doing great.
Yeah.
Over he's for 5-month-old puppy.
Isn't he crazy? He's awesome.
He's incredible.
He's awesome. Yeah.
He does super well in walks. He's really healthy.
Good.
Yeah. So he's awesome.
I'm so happy.
Yeah, thank you again for helping me get this amazing little puppy.
Totally.
I'm glad I asked you.
I know, right? That was such a far-fetched question for most people, but
Right. No, perfect.
yeah, definitely. That was one of those. I think the universe must have aligned that one.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.